Y'all see my shirt? Wait. My shirt is Deadpool. All right. My favorite superheroes, just since we're on the topic, my favorite superheroes will always be either Deadpool or Spider-Man, only because they cope through humor, much like I do. Anyway. All right, so welcome back. Hope y'all are doing great. How's it going? Just a little check-in. You know, stay hydrated. I actually need to drink some water. I'll be right back. And I'm back. And is she cute? Yes, she is. Look at those cheeks. Again, like, I know YouTubers are so good at like making it seem like seamless. Like it was just like split second, but that actually took me a couple of minutes. I completed like 10 different things. That's just my like neurodivergent brain just being like, oh yeah, let me just, then before I remembered I had to record anyway. Let's get started. Growing up with African immigrant parents, there are certain things that, well, how do I describe this? You grew up with a certain sense of child disillusionment. And it's unfortunate because like all that like childlike wonder, childlike imagination, all those like little stuff that you used to think when you were a child, you don't, your African parents tend to, what's the word? Destroy that sense of imagination. And I still have an imagination, thankfully, today, but all those like funny little things like Santa and like the Tooth Fairy and all this stuff. So, to any children who are watching right now, why don't you click away and watch another video? Watch something that I do that is funny. Hopefully at this point in time, when you do discover a lot of these older videos, because I'm assuming like you're probably like, oh my gosh, she's whatever. Watch something else. Watch something else. Please, I don't want to ruin that childlike wonder for you. And I'm saying that right now. So I'm literally going to count to 5. Watch something else. And then I'm going to start my stories. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's get started. So the first story comes from like second grade. So I was in the second grade, and this was the first time I'd lost my tooth. I'd lost like my first tooth in class, I remember. And I go up to my teacher and I'm like, I lost my tooth. And my teacher's like, oh my goodness, yay, now I can like, she like gave me this little like tooth case. Like it's exactly what you're thinking. Like, so like it was like a big tooth, or a little, like it wasn't like big, but like a little like plastic tooth, like that you can open the top and like you can put your tooth inside and close the top. She's like, now you can take it home to your parents. And I was like, okay, sure, I guess they'd want my decapitated bone or whatever. And I told one of my like classmates that, oh yeah, I lost my tooth. And my classmate is like, oh my gosh, then the tooth fairy is gonna visit you. And I'm like, the tooth fairy? It's like, yes, the tooth fairy. You put the pillow, like you put your tooth under your pillow, and then the next morning you wake up and there's money under your pillow. I was like, money? Let's go. So my excited ass, I get home and like true to form, I put the tooth under my pillow. And I'm excited. I'm like, I'm about to get paid. I am so excited. I wake up the next morning. There is no money. I still find my old, like the tooth with the little tooth case. Like my tooth inside the tooth. Yeah. And I'm just kind of like, oh. So at this point, I'm kind of confused. I'm like, does the tooth fairy do, is it 5 to 7 business days? How long I gotta wait for my money? So I go back to school the next day. And I'm talking with my friend or my classmate. My classmate's like, oh, did the tooth fairy come visit you? And I was like, no, that bitch did not come visit me. So how does this work? Do I gotta wait a couple of business days? Is it like when you do returns, they're like, oh, you'll see them account 5 to 7 business days after, even though it didn't take 5 to 7 business days for y'all to take the money out of my account? Anyway, how long does it take for the money to come? And my friend was like, oh, you probably have to wait a couple of days. You know, sometimes the tooth fairy is slow, whatever. I'm like, okay. I left that tooth under my pillow for like a week. And it started to literally like rot. And I was like, you know what? I give up. This woman is not coming for me. And that was just one of the first childlike disillusionments. So the reason I told this story first was because, well, there was another story that kind of like preludes it. And I thought I'd tell that one specifically where I came to the realization this bitch wasn't real because of something else. So it was wintertime. I can't say specifically when. I'd like to think I was in the first grade. And I do not remember this story for myself, but I am so sure it happened. So this wasn't a story that this isn't a memory I personally remember. This is a story that my African parents would tell me all the time. And I'd just be like, y'all really couldn't pretend, could you? So what I'm assuming happened is that around this period in time, the early 2000s, this was around the time where, like, in schools, everything was very much Christmas centered. Like, when wintertime came along, it was time for a Christmas break. Like, they read all those stories that you would read, something about a mouse, like, 'twas the night before Christmas. Hold on. 'Twas the night before Christmas, not a creature was stirring, something, even a mouse, or whatever. And all those other stories about how, like, Santa breaks and enters into your house via the chimney. And my little childlike brain must have understood that, like, oh, our house doesn't have a chimney. How does this white man break into our house? So I go home and I must have, like, told my African parent or asked my African parent, like, hey, how does this man break into our house when we don't have a chimney? And my African parents said that they had told me that there was no such thing as Santa. Y'all couldn't even just pretend? Oh man, no wonder I'm a jaded adult. Like, oh, that's actually messed up. But yeah, like, from a very young age, I knew that unfortunately Santa did not exist. I just knew. And I was just like, damn. So all those, like, cute little stories we've been watching, like Polar Express, like, in school while we were working right before, before winter break, and I'd just be like, what a lie. It's actually painful. But anyway, yeah. So that's why when it came to the Tooth Fairy story that I told earlier, I came to the conclusion on my own. I didn't need nobody to tell me. I came to the conclusion on my own, and it just was some bullshit. This last story, it's October, and so we grew up relatively Christian. We were Christians, Pentecostal, I think. I really don't know. I'm gonna be honest. Whatever African Christian is spiritual. I remember my older sibling said it was Pentecostal. Anyway, we were Christians. And, well, Halloween was a touchy subject. Let's just say every church I went to, there was always this don't let your kids celebrate Halloween rhetoric. Because of the whole spookum and, like, spirits and evil spirits and everything come out during Halloween and everything. Which I found very interesting because these are the same African parents who will go and watch a movie where they'll see the woman literally poison their husband, or they'll see witchcraft, literally step-by-step instructions on how to do witchcraft. But no, don't let your kids go to door to door to get candy from other people's houses. I mean, when you say it like that, it does sound kind of weird. But anyway, like, Halloween was something that was always like, don't celebrate every single time. And I just remember, like, it was just this really scary rhetoric that they kept telling us, like, witches and demons and all this stuff, witches and demons. And with my own, I started to really look, oh my goodness. When we were kids, in my specific household, I remember around this time of the year, Halloween, like, we wouldn't go to school because our parents would be like, nah, it's evil, so you can't go to school. Which was sad for me because, like, I really thought that all my friends were going to go to hell because they celebrated Halloween, which is so messed up. I was like, you're all gonna die because you celebrate Halloween. It's the devil's birthday. I really told my friend this once. But, like, when I would get older, I would actually be really upset because, like, in class, we would get these, like, really cool candies that other kids would bring to class. Kids had really cool costumes, and I remember thinking, damn, I want to get a cool costume. So I'm probably gonna get a cool costume. But, like, I really like this time of the year because of the spookum candies, like the chocolate eyeballs. They're like bleeding heart gummies or whatever. Okay, well, again, when you say it like that, it does sound kind of weird because what? Why? But just more childlike disillusionment. What was interesting was that, like, I would ask other kids in church, hey, did you guys go trick-or-treating? And half of them said yes. So it was just my weird ass parents that was like, y'all can't have any fun. Because they were just kind of like, yeah, my friends at school would say they came over and like, oh, they were like, oh, we want to go trick-or-treating, and their parents would just let them go. And I'd be like, what? Again, there's a lot of unlearning and relearning that I had it done at a certain point in time. So this, obviously, growing up, Halloween was one of those things. I'm not saying that like, but yeah, those are the childlike disillusionments that I remember. I'm sure there are more, like, never really believed in the Easter Bunny. Like, what else? But yeah, I didn't really believe in all the other childlike imagination, especially in America. But, you know, I just think back to it as just like, I'm not saying you should support lying to your children, but there's nothing wrong with like engaging in your child's imagination. I mean, the reason why the world looks so beautiful through a child's eyes is because, well, they're innocent. And it's just like, it just kind of felt like my innocence, in a sense, was just like shattered before my very eyes. And it's just kind of like, damn, y'all couldn't just, for 30, like, how long would it have been? Like, what, 10 years? Okay, well, but still, I eventually would have, like, it's just kind of sad. It's just kind of sad. But I don't know. But yeah, there's no real lesson to this one. It's just, I feel like the reason why a lot of us are jaded as adults is because, well, we forgot that our imagination is still very powerful. Granted, our imagination tends to be a bit more adult, but I don't know. In a world where we live with with ideas of like superheroes or like magic powers or like stories where we think about what life could have been like in medieval times with magic powers, or like video games and stuff like that, there is nothing wrong with your imagination. I think you should embrace your imagination. Even if you had it like shattered before your very eyes as a child, embrace your imagination. Your imagination is a superpower. Keep that in mind. But yeah, that was pretty much all I wanted to tell. I was just kind of like, oh, you know. But yeah, stay tuned.